All right, welcome. Welcome. Seeing a lot of people joining in. Mark's doing his thing, managing the screen share and also clicking the allow user in button over and over and over again. Lots of AI note takers. Hilarious. On brand. I love it. Um, just we'll get started in a minute or two here. We might want to take a minute as people filter in to introduce yourselves into the chat here. See some, oh, there we go. Some AI note takers introducing themselves already. Um, so we'll start in the chat here. I'll just say, um, you know, MSP you are with and where you are located. Yeah, so we can get that going. Um, See, we've got Puerto Rico in the house. Wonderful. Ireland, wow, we're global here. We're global here. And Philly, Tim, what's going on with the Sixers, man? Horrible, horrible.
I don't know. I don't know. Never get it right. It's always something, always something.
Always something. Hope you didn't spend too much on your season tickets this year
I, I
because they
actually, I actually let them lapse this year, actually. But Eagles are doing much better. I think they're on the upswing here at the end of the season. The beginning didn't look that great, but they're really coming around. So we'll
they're
see.
looking good.
Looking good. They're looking good.
Well, we better get started here because, Tim and I could take over the whole meeting for the full hour talking about Philly sports and the pain and highs that we feel along the way. We're gonna have a pretty tight meeting here. We've got a big update that, we're happy to announce and some people have already seen or seen either from our release notes or through meeting with Mark and JP. We also have the wonderful Charles from Nashville Computer here, who's going to share some experiences with us. And, he really just did an amazing job getting his team up and running very quickly. So we're going to dive into that. But before we do that and also get into Mark and JP sharing some updates, um, I'd like to just very quickly introduce the Hatz team. Myself, Jimmy, CEO, co-founder here at Hatz AI. Delighted to have everyone on. Feel free to ask questions along the way. We'll answer them as we go, either live or in the chat. As you might notice, this is a live Zoom meeting, not a webinar. So, feel free to ask away. We also have Mark and JP. I'll let you guys quickly introduce yourselves, starting with Mark.
Hey everyone, good to see a lot of familiar faces again. I am Mark. You've definitely met me if you've done an onboarding with Hatz, and my role is just to make prompt engineering and AI adoption a lot easier for you and your customers.
Thanks, Mark. And if anyone has met me, they know that all difficult questions go to Mark, and then the rest I can handle and help you grow AI as a service. Looking forward to today. And yeah, let's keep the chat going. And if there's any questions, put them in there.
Great. All right. Well, let's get into it. Charles, how you doing today? That's not
Doing
your
amazing.
normal background in Nashville. That looks a little different.
It is. It is a little different. Enjoying a little time in Cancun this week.
It's
It is not
wonderful.
a. It is not a virtual background. So if you see birds flying around, that is not virtual. It's real. It's real. It's not AI.
Well, we are thankful that you're able to join us and even while you're down in Mexico and we appreciate it, of course. Always love having a real background that looks virtual because it means that something's going right.
That's right.
But yeah, Charles, why don't we just start? Can you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business before we get into your experience and all that with hats.
Sure. I'm Charles Henson, owner of Nashville Computer. I've been with Nashville Computer. I started there when I was 21, so I've been there over 33 years, and worked my way up through the ranks as an engineer. and purchased the company about almost 5 years ago. Based in Nashville, Tennessee, but we have offices in Detroit and Atlanta.
Wonderful. And Charles, I have to give you credit. You know, you run a tight ship with your team. Your team's amazing. All of our interactions with them have been great. And we're very thankful on how quickly you guys you know, jumped on board and sort of saw that you know, in 2025 AI is going to be a priority or something that you need to sort of wrap your head around. So let's start with that. Let's start with, like, you know, what exactly inspired you to get started. I know, you know, we got introduced through a mutual connection. Obviously we had met before a couple times, but you know, tell everyone sort of where your head was at, you know, either before or after our first couple meetings.
Yeah, so fully transparent. You know, I was brought in to watch a demo of Hatz AI at a cigar bar in Nashville at one of the Robbins events. And I was like, why would I want to pay for AI when I can use ChatGPT or some other tool that's out there? There's so many other tools out there. And that was my first thought on it. And the more I talked to Joanna and Jimmy and the discussions in the weeks after, you know, the more I started using ChatGPT and running into some limitations and then other things I was looking at. And the more I started embracing AI myself and having it like rewrite emails and different things. And I was like, you know what, let me take a look at what Jimmy has, because there was the phone answering thing was, you know, seemed interesting, as well as the different LLMs that are there. So I can use not just one version, but multiple. And it's funny because when I was setting up a demo with JP and Jimmy, there was one of the first things they showed me was an RFP app that had been built out, and it was talking about that. Well, I had a prospect meeting, and the prospect was talking about they needed to postpone the meeting because they're working on a large RFP. And I was like, this contact is working on a large RFP. They already have an app built for an RFP. I wonder how that would interact with this, and if I could go to market with that for this actual prospect and add it as a value add into our services. And that's when I was like, hey, let's have another demo about AI. Let's talk more about Hatz. And I got with Jimmy and JP, and I was like, all right, what I want to do is I want it from an MSP perspective. I want a demo, but what I want to do is bring in 1 to 2 team members of each department within my MSP. And that way I get their feedback on how they can use Hatz AI to work on their daily task, enhance their daily task or their weekly task or things that they're working on. And so that's when I asked for another demo of Hatz AI, but with, I would say probably maybe half of my staff that was on that initial demo with the team.
It's wonderful. And you know, I have to say, like, we came to that meeting with your staff, your full team, with, I think they're the most prepared group of people we've ever had initial conversations with. I remember you sort of texted me over the weekend or emailing back and forth, like, hey, you know, how can we get so and so up on training? It was like Sunday night, right? I'm like winding down with my team, and I'm getting notifications that there's certificates being completed left and right on AI and prompt engineering. You know, and you know, I tell that because you've done a really good job with, you know, your approach and sort of this like crawl, walk, run, and you're very specific about, like, let's get it working for the team. Let's, you know, eat our own dog food, sort of, if you will. Can you talk about, like, where your head's at in terms of, like, let's not just jump right to, like, the most complicated use case for an end customer. Let's get our team really to understand this, and this, like, deploy, use, learn sort of philosophy that we've you know, gone through in partnership together.
Well, yeah, Jimmy, that was part of what the demo was, you know, learn, use, and run, right? And the team, when we got off that call that day, you know, we collaborated. And one of the things that we do is, as a team, I rely on the team to decide which products we're going to use for our clients and or what we're going to use internally. And so a lot of the tools, I would say the majority of tools that we use today have all been chosen by our team. They collectively come together and choose those things. And it was unanimous that this would be a tool that we could utilize. So the day of the demo, we signed on. I think that was a Thursday. You guys gave us access to the portal, and you scheduled the onboarding for Monday. And like you said, by Monday, I think the majority of the team were actually already up and running. I think the majority of the team was actually already fully trained on the various modules, and they were ready for the onboarding so that they could just take off running and understand what they had access to. And that's really cool because, different members of the team are building out various apps to handle various tasks within their departments and within their job roles. And they're looking at how they can collaborate and build apps that can help other pieces of, in other departments. And how do we integrate those together? And so really where our head was is how do we use automation and AI to help us streamline a lot of the tasks that we do day in and day out. One of the things that we've done for years is a project worksheet. And that project worksheet, we built out the app in AI, and we can now go in and answer questions. How many servers are we doing a deployment? Is there email migration? Is there various things that are in there? All these different tasks that we can ask questions on, and it will outline that project worksheet. Instead of the engineer going in and typing out all that stuff and everything that they need to do, we built it to where, and Jimmy, you were instrumental in helping us get this thing going, and that's one of the things I'll say. The Hatz AI team is amazing. If you've got an idea and you want to run something by them, to get them to help you, don't just go this alone. Like, they're there to support you. And with that, we're able to take that and we're continuing to tweak it and customize it and make it better, right? And so what we're working on, and the dream for that is to build out the project, know how many hours are going to be included in that project, have sales take that and put it on the proposal, not the outline of what it's going to take, but the actual man hours that it's going to take, put that on the proposal. And then when the client says, yes, we want to move forward with this, then we take that into the project management piece, and we have it outline the project management, which pieces need to happen in-house versus on-site. And then from that aspect, we want to build it into the next app that's going to help with the actual workflow of what that project looks like. Who's doing what, who's responsible, what are the prerequisites, what needs to be done. And once we get this built out, we can regurgitate and repurpose this multiple times over in every project that we look to build out from this point on. So pretty amazing how to streamline that. And it's not dependent on an engineer, right? So once it's built, the other engineers can be trained on how to use that app. And then the project manager, even can say, hey, he's going to be on vacation, whatever, somebody else can step in, and that whole workflow can still be created, even though somebody is not in that position for that week or so.
Yeah, Charles, it's great stuff. I want to just cover too, like, your team went from, like, obviously you yourself had been using ChatGPT or AI, and some people on your team had been as well. But you very quickly got to like a baseline proficiency in AI, where everyone sort of understood the limitations, and understood like how to prompt a little better very quickly. Can you talk about any challenges or like sort of what that learning process looked like over the couple weeks when your team was initially adopting?
Yeah, I mean, the training that you guys have is really straightforward. What I really love about it is that it's broken up into modules. So you'll go through a module, you'll learn about something, and then you ask questions to verify that you understood what you just learned. And then it continues on through, and you can pause the training and come back to the training later. So that was very instrumental for us because, what is the LLM? How does it work? Why do I need to choose something other than just the standard chat GPT? Is based on, what tool or what task am I asking it to do? One of the things that we learned is, it's not very good at math. So there's things that we need to do to work around that, right? Like there are some limitations, and AI is continuing to learn, and it will get better over time. But, it's how do we continue to learn and get better over time, building out the personas, understanding how to ask the questions, giving it the output examples that we want, and then making modifications. They're not just being satisfied with the first outcome that comes there, It's saying, okay, getting that feedback and getting that answer that we're looking for, the email written, but then re-asking it in a different way so that we can get a different outcome, and an outcome that we're actually looking for that would be more like what our actual core value would be and how we would kind of think about it, so that it doesn't look like it's been written by AI. And then from the task standpoint is, how can we take a task that is mundane to us and simplify it so that it's less time consuming, and we're not working harder, we're actually working smarter. And so for us, just embracing this and saying, look, here's a tool. It's not going to replace our jobs. It's not going to do what we can do. It's not going to be able to really, take the place of an engineer. But what it can do is enhance our efficiency, and it can also enhance our client experience and help our clients, even in their roles and their tasks. Because the next thing we're looking at is like, how do we go to market with this? That one prospect had an RFP they were working on. Well, how many of our other clients are actually using Chat GPT or other AI modules at this point insecurely that we don't know about? And that's been one of the big keys, with Hatz for us, is we're security focused. We have been security focused for years. And it's like, okay, can we upload a document to this? And it's always good to trust, but it's great to verify. And the fact that you guys have been through SOC 2 compliance gives us that verification. And we know that we can verify and understand that any document that we upload, whether it's a policy, procedure, project worksheet, client information, client logs, firewall logs, whatever that may be that we're asking it to actually parse and look through, we know that that information is going to stay secure within our module.
Thank you, Charles. I think one thing a lot of people are interested in hearing about too, like we talked about getting your team adopted, working internally, but with a greater plan of like, once you have a good base understanding into 2025, going to market with your clients. I think a lot of people are interested in sort of your strategy with that, where your head's at with that. Why you didn't just jump to like, let's resell it right away, which I'm sure JP would love, even though he holds himself back and tells people to crawl, walk, run. Just anything on go to market and sort of like where your head's at with it now, and making AI a priority for customers in 25.
Sure. Well, our MSP works a little differently maybe than others. I don't know. I've not worked for another MSP, but one of the things that we do is when we bring in an RMM tool or a PSA, or we bring in a new firewall, everyone gets certified on it. If we're bringing a new tool, they're going to get certified, and we're going to know it before we deploy it. And we learned that the hard way for a few years back, and I won't go into that story, but it cost me several man hours, overtime, and weekend work with almost the entire staff there, working on an issue where the client's network kept going out. And it was simply a product that we had installed and didn't know how to use it. And it was shutting down the switches. The switches were being rebooted and causing network latency. And so one of the things that we learned from that lesson was, any new product we bring to market, we have to learn it. We have to get to know what it is. We have to understand how it functions before we can actually go and talk to our clients about it. Because the last thing we want to do is tell them that it will do something that it absolutely won't do, or misrepresent a product in some way. So by embracing this product, understanding it, everyone is certified on this product, everyone understands the product. Now what we're doing is we're integrating it into our technical business reviews. So as sales is meeting with our clients, they're talking to them about, do you have any idea how many of your employees are actually using AI? And we're bringing that report to them because we're looking at their firewall logs, we're looking at the DNS filter, and we're finding out how many of their actual people are spending time using AI tools that the business owners or our contacts may not even understand use this technology. And then we're approaching it from the standpoint of, do you have any idea what they're putting into Chat GPT? Do you have any idea what they're putting into these various products that are online that are free to use? Why are they free to use? From a security standpoint, we all know what that means. Is they're mining for data, they're looking for things, they're trying to figure out, what information they can gather from us. And So we said, you know, instead of just letting our clients be insecure and not understanding and or even learning from somebody else what AI is and how to best use it within the organization, that's when we said, you know what, let's educate our clients. So let's talk to them about how many people are actually using AI in their organization today. Why are they using AI? Do they even have a clue? And let's talk about Hatz AI, what it's doing for us as an MSP, why we trust it, right? Because it's been verified, and how we're utilizing it in our organization to streamline certain tasks and how we can be more efficient in certain areas. And essentially, what we're going to do is be able to create products that's going to help the business long term. So if there's certain tasks within that organization, whether they're a CPA firm, investment banker, or you know, or whatever they may be, maybe in manufacturing, how can they utilize this tool and think about it from a different perspective than us? It goes back to that conversation where I'd said, hey, let me bring in 1 to 2 team members from each department because I'm going to see AI as one way, but they're going to see it totally different. And so we're going to market with this. We're talking to our prospects or our clients about it. And then we're talking to them about, hey, should we do a demo around this? Because here's the main people that are using AI. Let's get them on in a meeting together and talk about how are they using it? What could they do with Hatz AI? How could they utilize this in their own business? And then that's the direction we're going to market.
I love it, Charles. I really like how you're coming from a security first aspect, and you're not necessarily putting your team in a situation where your first step is going towards like that most complex use case. It's like, hey, like let's just get a baseline. It looks like your team is using it already. We want to, standardize some things and then, crawl, walk, run with your customer. So big fan of everything y'all are doing down in Nashville and also down in Cancun today. Um, appreciate your time. I think we're about ready to move into sort of the rest of things here. But before I go, any closing words or anything I missed asking you questions here?
The only thing I would say is if you're on the fence of whether or not you should choose Hatz AI or whether you should let your team use it, I would highly recommend that you set up a demo with JP and Jimmy with the team and get feedback from your team and let them help you understand as the MSP owner, like how can we better utilize this within our MSP? And what things can they come up with? What already created apps can you go ahead and already repurpose today? And then what apps can you create that would help your team be able to do their jobs more efficiently and effectively? And what client experience can you gain from using this and empowering your team to free up some of their time to actually focus on talking and working with your clients? So that's my advice. That's where we are. That's what we did. And my whole team love it. We actually added 3 new users yesterday. And so we're just embracing this whole thing is like, how else can we utilize Hatz AI to make our entire organization a much better place?
Great. Thank you, Charles.
Right.
Mark, if you don't mind, I'll take over the screen share here. Before I get into it, I just want to tell everyone that we spent the past month and some time before it really focusing on how our platform can be ready for the future, how we can develop new features quicker, and how we can sort of scale and make things faster and solve a lot of common support issues. And to do that, we decided it was time to upgrade our interface. We actually wrote about 80% of code from our initial release back in April with the early design partner testers like Tim. Thanks for bearing with us, Tim. We always appreciate you for that. So, what I'm about to show is our new interface. It is live on an opt-in basis. We will be moving the admin panel to this interface as early as next week. And starting today, actually, you can flip your customer tenant to the interface. There's an opt-in button inside the platform to do that. I do want to say though, like you have complete control on when that happens. It'll be a couple weeks or maybe even a month or two before we automatically upgrade and customer facing tenants to the new interface. But I just want to get ahead and say that so nobody's freaking out. Like I haven't had a chance to test this or look at it before, all your customers see. So with that, I will share my screen here. And I'll just start by saying that a lot of the upgrades here can be found in our changelog. We released a big changelog a couple of days ago that has most of the features written out with demos on what they do. But just to show everyone here, this is the new admin interface. A lot cleaner. You have sort of access to your tenants, uses metrics, things about pending users, all of that. We'll be adding more to this, like common apps and things like that. But then we have information into your app usage right from the start. You can manage your tenants. As you can see, the site just in general is a lot faster. You can manage your tenants very easily from here. A couple of things we did too. If you have pending users, you can generate a new access link or resend the email from the platform. We definitely got a good amount of support tickets from people struggling with that. So we wanted to make sure we addressed that and made sure the usability is very clean. Or delete pending invitations right from there. You still have access, obviously, to the permission groups and apps inside the platform, inside tenant management. So the functionality here is the same, pretty much. We have our phone agents too. You can manage them now from the admin dashboard, see who's there and assign them to tenants. And then, billing, better breakdown of things, of your invoices, just a lot cleaner, a lot faster. Our new app builder, we have the same thing with community apps and community and your own. You may notice that they're called automations now, and there is a reason for that, which I'll cover soon. Sort of where we're going with the direction of the platform and why we spent so much time rewriting a lot of the code to make it make a lot of this stuff possible. But just to show you the customer view too, the chat interface is there. We now have web browsing, so if you need to import a website, you can very easily do that from inside the platform. You can search chat histories super fast and easy to do. And you still have, access to all the models like you normally would. The customers now have a new home screen too, so they're not just like put right into the chat. And it gives them, an opportunity to sort of poke around and see like what is there and what's out there to get started very easily. We also put some widely used apps right at the top, and we're going to continue to update these with newer use cases as time goes on. With the phone agent too, I should mention that we have call logs now as well. So click into the call logs here. So you can see sort of like when calls were happening, what the date was, all in the admin interface. We're going to be adding the call history transcriptions into here too, and we have a lot of updates coming, but this was, an important step into making that happen. You can obviously filter by your different agents. For our app builder, we now have a new sort of interface here. A lot cleaner, easy to use. And one thing, sort of the next step in this is we're gonna release another update to our app builder probably next week or the week after, where you'll be able to reuse inputted information and also upload more than just one permanent file. I believe the limit is going to be around 20. So it will use retrieval augmented generation or RAG inside of an app and act sort of like a memory bank. So that update is coming very soon, and we'll definitely have training and information on that. Another reason that we did this big update and where sort of the direction that we're heading is being able to make apps multi-step. So adding like a second step to it where you can take the output from one and use it the other, and also being able to hit apps by API and have apps hit an API. So those are sort of the key roadmap things that are top of mind for us that we're really focusing on for the end of the year into early January. And in addition to that, I will say that we have a large project right now to finish our um, UI upgrade to make our website much more mobile friendly, especially in the customer dashboard. So, being able to very easily use it on your phone, use the chat on your phone, and also be able to enable dark mode. So you'll see lots of incremental updates in that area over the next weeks and months. And then with it eventually culminating with dark mode being available towards the end of January or early February. If you're interested in using this new UI, you just go to next.hatz.ai, or you can just wait until next week when we put it live on admin.hatz.ai. And if you'd like to upgrade your tenant to use the new UI, what you'll do is you'll just go into settings, my interface, sort of this screen where you originally had set your subdomain on the existing UI, set a color scheme. Now we have standard color schemes. And then what will happen is a little button, mine's already migrated over, so it's not here, but a little button appears that says migrate to new interface. When you click that, within a couple seconds, your customer dashboard will update, and you will have access to all of the new features. We also updated our website too. So that is out. There's a few small things here that I should just mention for partners. There's just a link to the admin dashboard on the website. I don't know why we didn't have that before. I don't know why we didn't have really anything on our website before. Actually, I do. We were focused on building the product. But also in this resources section here, there's links to the training courses, the roadmap, and our documentation. So if you're ever looking for something, just pop over to our homepage, and you can, click on resources or find it right at the homepage to get links to those different specific sites. And let me see here. Oh, I see. All right. Well, those are some of the new things that we've released over the past month or so since we did our last meeting. I'm really excited about it because, it was a bit of pulling the Band-Aid off with our engineering team to migrate everything over. We had 2 new engineers join the team as well that are now fully onboarded. So you can expect us now to get back into our normal weekly or bi-weekly release cadence with new features coming very, very early and often. So with that, I will hand it back over to Mark and JP, and I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat as we go here.
Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, a little pause if anyone wants to ask a question. Jimmy, before we jump in, it's really validating to see this massive move. It's setting the foundation for a lot of future development. I mean, is there any sneak peek on directionally where you're going to bring it?
Yeah, I think, JP, where we're going is we're like 2025 for us as a company is the year of the agentic future, we're calling it. And what that means is being able to build agents, whether they be accessible through the phone or chat or email, that have function calling capability. So you can think of it as every app that you build in the platform, and the capabilities of apps in the platform is going to expand significantly as we introduce the ability to interact with external systems. but making those accessible through chat, phone, or email interface. So you can think of it like, you have a P&L that someone emails you, and you need to extract some information on it. You have an app that is able to do that. You can send that to your AI agent that has function calling capabilities and can be able to hit that app or automation. So this I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with flow-based automation, or maybe even robotic process automation. The difference here is, instead of building out every edge node and every edge case in one giant sort of flow or one giant automation, you can build the end nodes, or the actions that it can take. Maybe hit your PSA, or download a file from somewhere, or manipulate some text using AI, or read something. And then the AI can decide all of the steps involved and sort of handle that autonomously, lowering the barrier to entry tremendously, to be able to build those agentic workflows without needing to hard code sort of every edge case. In addition to that, we're seeing a lot around computer vision and computer control, actually, with AI being able to operate a computer. And we've done a lot of experimenting in our lab, and are working on a couple things for that. Just like for context, we've been able to get AI to control our browsers, and be able to log in different systems and all of that, and sort of act like 15 steps in a row, which is great. But how do you do it in a very secure and safe way, and how do you productize it for clients? So that's sort of the stuff that we're working on. I do think that the AI models are getting tremendously better. We actually saw the first AI model optimized for operating a mouse and keyboard through Anthropic, one of our LLM providers and partners. So I'm expecting to see a lot more of that in 2025, and that's the direction it's going. It may be a bit before sort of this stuff is production ready and safe. There are things like there's certainly risks to AI being able to control your computer, right? Like, definitely risks. So we're thinking about it in two ways. One, being sort of a co-intelligence that can operate with you in like a browser or in a computer, where you still have control over things, but it can go off and do common tasks. And two, virtual machines that can have specific access. You can sort of set it up like a user you normally would, and being able to operate completely autonomously. So there's a bit on like what's possible and where the tech goes from like a high level in the big like AI battles that are happening out there. We're just focusing on making it usable for end customers and secure, that it meets all of your security standards as an MSP. So a lot to be excited about. We moved really, really, really quick as a team. Like, just for context, everyone, like, as most of we announced the company in January, and that's really where we got down to building past our initial proof of concepts. And launched with a couple design or launch partners in April. And then it wasn't really until July until we really started bringing partners on, and that's sort of like what we consider our general availability release of our product. So we're 6, 8, 10 months into this thing, depending on where you start the counter. And we're moving quick. We've got a great engineering team which just expanded, and we're going to continue to add resources to that team as we grow, to continuously bring you guys new features and new use cases and technology. So I feel like JP knows how to poke me and get me talking about things I
Yeah. No, it's great, Jimmy. And like you mentioned, co-intelligence, and I'll run through this quickly, but it does trigger, we often quote a person called Ethan Mollick, a thought leader on AI, and he talks about the 4 rules of co-intelligence. Always invite AI to the table. Number 2, be the human in the loop. 3, treat AI as a person, number 3. And then lastly, which is touching what you said, always assume it'll be the worst AI you'll ever see. I don't know why I don't know off by heart. I also have the back of the book here, but always treat or assume it'll be the worst AI you'll ever see, which is amazing when we think about the capability we have today. And then, as you just outlined, what the future may hold in store. Mark, we can go to the next slide. We're just going to run through some of this quickly. We hope some of it is of value, but to listen a moment ago to Charles, it's probably the best use of time and listening to an MSP that's gone through the journey. But what we're seeing now, I think this sort of tees up some of the things Charles talked about in this order. We're seeing MSPs absolutely freeing up that internal tech time. You know, there is no other group, I think, or organizations that are overburdened as much as MSPs, right? So anywhere we can help alleviate that burden is a really good thing. It's also in one way self-serving for us because it sets a strong foundation to when you begin going to market and differentiating yourself in the crowd. There's an enormous market opportunity for MSPs as they open up AI as a service for their customers. But again, you know, if you go to the next slide, Mark, this model is really in the sequence we see here, deploy internally first. So those that have already done that have a step ahead in terms of the pack. Not all MSPs are going to embrace the AI as a service, but if you are moving that direction, deploy internally as Charles has done, learn internally as his team has done, and use it, get those use cases up and running and get value internally. Because again, as you talked about, Jimmy, we'd all love to maybe sell out the game. We've done that, but the value is provisioning a quality AI service for your customers. And to do that, you need to deploy, learn, and use first. Next slide, please, Mark. And again, Mark, you'll be able to touch on this later, or indeed anytime. There's a lot of easy wins that are already developed. There's probably lots more out there. We love to learn more from MSPs of what's working well for them. Charles touched on a few. Some of these use cases are templated in the platform, and we want to work with you guys to help get them alive into your organization. And following that adoption journey, this is definitely going to be a rinse and repeat as you think about your go-to-market, where you're following this journey today. You're accessing a platform. You're driving towards what we would call the low-hanging fruit, developing those simple use cases internally, building competency within your own organization with training and experience. Because when we begin adding on customers, and that's going to happen very, very soon as the market's quickly going to mature, your customers are going to follow that very, very same journey. And the muscle memory that Charles has built within the organization, and Tim and others on the call, is going to be very, very well served. Deploy, learn, use, and sell. Next slide, please, Mark. Just took the opportunity. We've been it's been so validating in the last month or so, and Jimmy, you can jump in if you'd like. We've had the marvelous opportunity to meet hundreds of MSPs at different events, and you've got Dado and IT Nation and others. Mark has as well. There's been a tremendous volume of uptake on our starter package, which we have put together for MSPs. There might be some on the call here now that want a quick way just to get started on the platform. So certainly reach out if you want to take advantage of that and tool up before we get into what's quickly coming, 2025, not far away. Next slide, Mark. With a new UI becomes new collateral ready for you. This is collateral that, again, can articulate the value, the features, the use cases to your end customers. So we use a platform to communicate some of this collateral to you that you can put your own logo and branding on at a very, very easy. So again, reach out if you want to look at that. And the packages, again, as we all know, AI is very much a usage service, and we have packages that might make sense for some customers that might want to just get started, and it's great for organizations up to 15 users right up to a couple of hundred users. So these are some examples of how we're packaging it up. And within the platform, there's actually an app that you'll find there to help draft up these packages for you as you might want to think about it for your end customers. A couple of things. This actually isn't the final one, but one thing that we're certainly seeing and direct experience with customers, reach out to them, ask them about what they're doing on AI. If we as MSPs, we have to do that now, making sure that there's an awareness that you can help them on that journey, and you don't need to have all those answers, but it's moving so quickly, and there's a lot of end customers that currently may not know their MSP might be able to help them on this journey. So we want to call that out, and to help with that, next slide, Mark. To help with that, we've I'm really looking forward to this webinar because I get to ask the questions and others have to answer. Very fortunate to have Connor Toomey, Jimmy and Mark join on the 3rd of December. So absolutely register for this one and feel free to send it to any of your customers. It'll be agnostic of our platform and more around directionally where Connor and particularly Jimmy see AI going. Jimmy will be able to talk a little bit around how that mechanizes in a platform, and Mark's going to give some live demos of use cases in action. So it's a really great place and a safe place for your customers to pop on, learn a little bit more, listen into thought leaders, particularly Jimmy and Connor. Connor's an amazing individual, and
Yeah,
again,
just some context on Connor too. He's a friend of ours, and he has spent his entire career working on enterprise systems for the largest financial institutions in the world. So you name a big bank, he's built an IT system for them, or some data system for them. And he spent about the past 10, 15 years of his career working specifically on AI and helping companies of the like adopt AI. And then, in the past 6 months, actually left and started his own company with his partner Fergus, and they are building AI for large financial institutions. So he's just a great resource. He's on stage with companies like NVIDIA and Microsoft and Dell, and he's really in a picture in sort of what's going on in the enterprise, and he's a great resource to us as a company too, on to be able to see sort of where the future's going and what we chat. I tell him what's happening down market, he tells me what's happening up market. So very, very excited to speak with him on this webinar.
Thanks, Jimmy. That's very helpful, and we'll have a lot of content to go out on that one. So lastly, and Mark, you can pick this ball up as well before you take your next segment here. Mark and I are working closely on this with a couple of MSPs, and I know some folks on this call have already started this journey, but we want to make it easy and more of a framework for you to put in place what might be seen as a rapid AI adoption program for your customers. So how do we make it easy for your customers to just get started? And we're thinking through a 4-week plan. We have a lot of the content already pre-built, a lot of the actions there, where you can position in front of a couple of customers. And I know one MSP on this call had mentioned they're making it more of an exclusive offer. A scarcity of resources is always a good way to position these things, where a small subset of customers can just help get that accelerator program going, particularly in January, where they can understand and demystify those AI concepts, put a plan in place, including access to the Hatz platform to put those foundational programs in place, some training, get through some use case ideation and real life examples, and then end with that, what might be seen as a tailored AI strategy for the year. So an MSP can guide them on that adoption plan. So we're not going to be able to work with a lot of MSPs on this one. So definitely reach out, put your hand up, and Mark and I are going to begin that program in the next 2 weeks with a view to launching in January. With that, Mark, handing over to you. And
Yeah. No, thank you, JP. I'm really excited about the Rapid AI Adoption Program. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to to work with you all on what that looks like for your customers. So really excited about that. A couple of things. I know we're closing in on time here, but these are important resources for you all to be aware of. Um, the first one is we're coming to the end of the year. It is probably a good idea to just get reset. We have the new UI out. If you want to walk through what that looks like, just drop a line over to me to just get reset. 15-20 minutes is all it's going to take to learn the new features in admin and in the customer dashboard. And then just really make sure we're in a good place moving into 2025. So in the follow-up email after this, where we send out the recording and everything, we'll include a link to my calendar, so you can just get some time with me, hopefully before the end of the year. The second thing is I'm really excited to announce we have 2 new trainings coming out on December 1st. The first is MSP admin training, and these will be shorter form trainings. I know prompt engineering 1 got a little bit long, 45, 60 minutes. We're trying to keep these to 20 minutes, just to make them really easy, bite-sized modules to learn really specific things in the platform and in AI broadly. So for anyone who's interested, MSP admin training again will be coming out. This will go through the new UI, all the different things you can do there. And then we also have Secure AI Chat as co-intelligence coming out. That's going to go through some of the things that you can do with AI chat. We'll look at the different LLMs that we have on the platform. And one thing that we hear when people are using the chat, it's, oh, I can use it to write an email. I can use it to summarize a document. There are so many more ways you can use it. I have a tab open 24/7 when I'm at work, and we're constantly going back and forth. It's like having a coworker right next to me. So we're gonna spend 20-25 minutes on just using secure chat as co-intelligence. The other thing to point out is I know the old trainings have the old UI. We're in the process of updating those videos and screen recordings. So those will be finished on December 1st as well. And along with that are docs.hatz.ai. All of our training videos that are on that platform, those have been updated. So those are the new UI videos. So this MSP admin training, is going to be for MSPs. The customers can take client admin training. Really great to just get them set up and using and building and taking ownership of AI in their organization. But these courses will be for everyone. This is for your whole team. This is for all of your customers. So once these are out, recommend putting this in place for an onboarding process. We are continuing with office hours moving into next year, every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And we also are starting another office hours Tuesdays at 9 a.m. So we have a lot of partners who are in the UK. We have a lot of Dublin, South Africa, and 12 p.m. Eastern was 5 or 6 p.m. For them on a Friday. So we're moving, we're adding an additional office hours. The link to sign up for these will also be included in the follow-up email.
Mark, I'd say the average amount of beer consumed during your office hours is going to drastically go down with the new European office hours not at the end of the workday on Friday.
Probably true. Yeah, I might get in some trouble for that. No, but we want this to be this one has grown a lot. The Fridays love, we've had MSPs connect and start building apps together, and it's just been a really fun thing to see. So we want that to keep going, but make it a little bit easier and give flexibility. This is not just for people in other countries, right? Anybody can come to any of these. It's just another time slot that might work better. Just want to get some more eyes on our Discord. The link is here. We'll put that in the email if you're not in there already. it's just, it's just great to have some chatter going on there throughout the day. You can pop in and ask a quick question, not have to go through a whole schedule a meeting and, work through that. Just ask questions in there. And the last thing I have is what JP mentioned earlier about MSP specific use cases. We're searching for the best examples because I love getting on calls with MSPs and they say, hey, I've been using this cool app. We built this really cool app. And it blows my mind because it's something that we would have never thought of. And it's making your lives and your technicians' lives easier. We would love to be able to put some of those in the community apps. Obviously, if these are things that are proprietary to your business, there's sensitive data. We don't want you to do that. But if this is, if you've built something that you think could be of value to the MSP community within Hatz AI, it would be great for you to put that into our Discord, the Hatz app showcase channel. The other part that goes along with that is if you're doing like, log file, log dump analysis and things like, if you have sanitized versions of those files that we can use for demos, it'd be great to just, we can do something nice for you. If you put a really cool use case in the community apps, just let me know. And, we just want to have more options to show. So we're searching for the best. If you think you have the best, put it into our Discord. And that is all I have, Jimmy.
Great. Why don't you drop the link to the Discord and keep the chat open, keep the window open for a couple more minutes if anybody wants to ask us questions. Feel free over text or directly face to face.
I just have not really a question, but a comment, and I want to share with the partner roundtable. First of all, I want to say that I was one of the early partners with Hatz AI, and it's amazing on how far it's come in 6 or 7 months, the platform and the features, and the support that's being built for MSPs to be successful. I think that's really something that's really to be said between Jimmy and the rest of the team that's on here to be successful. I'm also very similar to Charles' story about, we're a security first MSP. We use everything that we're doing. So I think that's the right way to do it. I want to share a story with one of my particular clients. I actually had the sales call right before this call. It's a manufacturing company. It's about a 200 user. It's a subsidiary of Mitsubishi Corporation. So you have a number of the management staff actually is Japanese, and some speak very good English, some not so much. But I did the call today, and one of the things that helped me, luckily Ernie, my engineer, was on the call. He was familiar with the product. Was he threw a curveball with me. I was talking about how it could be multi-language, and they wanted to translate a job description from English to Japanese. And Ernie chimed in about using Claude versus that, using ChatGPT 4.0 to develop the job description first, and then use Claude to do that. So I thought that was a lot of value add by having that information, that they have a sheet that shows you all the different things. So the other thing, we're trying to figure out how to get traction and make this work. And I think that adoption is difficult. But one of the things is there's a new IT manager. That's why I had the meeting. I talked to the old IT manager, but he had different priorities. And they're very worried about security, but they don't think anybody's using the system. So Ernie figured a script out this morning on how to use Umbrella to get a list of the IP addresses that are using ChatGPT. He says, oh, well, maybe 3 or 4 people are using it. And there's 35 unique IP addresses that are using the tool, and they don't know. And it was about 1,800 queries. So who knows what like they do like formulas and chemicals. Who knows what they put in there so far? So that's going to be my next meeting. I'm just going to share an example. It's something we just figured out today. We've been trying different methodologies to figure out, to create traction, and why you need secure AI. I believe everything that how JP is building the roadmap and how things are going, but I wanted to share that with the community. That's something I'm trying to figure out how we can drive the demand and the need for secure AI. I've talked about acceptable use policies, but if you can show here, you got 35 people using it or whatever the number is, I think that's a way to, we need a secure tool now, and then that will drive adoption. I'm going to share that with the community. So.
Wow. Just statistically speaking, it'd be hard to find someone who didn't have similar numbers too. But it's so funny that people are like, "Oh no, nobody's using AI." Thanks for sharing that, Tim.
Hey, Jimmy, Alberto from Risk over here. First of all, Tim,
Alberto.
if you can share how you're doing that detection, you mentioned the umbrella. We'll get on the Discord and probably implement that for a little fear mongering.
So I'm Ernesto Vargas. He can get on there. I don't know. I asked him to do it. I said, "Is there a way?" He ran some reports. He figured out there's a technical way to do it. I don't think it's very difficult. He did it. I asked him. He had it done in like 2 hours. So and I just thought about it because I knew that was going to be an objection. And if you know me, sometimes I wait to the last minute for things where I'm trying to change my behavior, where I can do things a little bit in the future. Mark, I asked you for those files right before our meeting, and thank you for being so responsive. But yeah, we can definitely publish it for
I
the
do that
for the
too,
group.
Tim.
You do that
I
too,
asked Mark for files about 30 seconds before any big
right?
meeting that I have.
Yeah. So
Now
I'm
it's
trying to be more proactive on things.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, we definitely share that with the group. It's I don't think it's too difficult to do, but I think it's very powerful. If you get the objection,
Indeed.
nobody's using AI, you know.
yeah, the gist
Yep.
of it is you can either go through firewall logs or DNS logs, or if you have a SaaS monitoring tool, a SaaS monitoring tool log, and you look for the URLs or IP addresses mapped to the URLs. URLs would be easier because different regions they can change IP in the background. For like chatgpt.com or whatever Google's chat URL is. We should send a link out, Mark and JP, to everyone, or anthropic.com. And that's how you can very quickly detect users going to those sites. Some of the firewalls and some of the more advanced stuff will even have filters for AI software. So there may even be some filters or reports built in on usage, but just statistically speaking, 30% of American workers, 30 to 40%, depending on when they took the survey, which are usually, outdated in these academic studies because they, take like a couple months to publish, are using AI in any given week. So you're going to see similar numbers to what Tim reported, more likely than not.
Nice. That'll be very good information to have. So the one question I wanted to ask you before we get out of here, I personally, the last few weeks been playing with the security aspect of using AI for penetration testing. I actually fell for Gemini's hallucinations, and then that drove me into a rabbit hole. And now I'm playing with like Worm GPT and things like that. Is that on your roadmap to offer like pen testing LLMs as part of the stack at some point?
We're I think like right now we're really focused on the sort of like agentic suite of tools, focused on like productivity and stuff. Will we release a security suite that you can use? Possibly, but it's not. We plan our roadmap about 3 months ahead with the vision. With unplanned things, about 6 months ahead. It's something we may take a look at in the future, but I think we still have some work to do now to get our platform sort of where we want it to be first before we can start offering products like that.
All right. And what about plugging into like document data sets, like say
Yep.
OneDrive, SharePoint, things like that? Because I have a couple customers that are on the fence between like Copilot and things like that for analyzing data within their environments. Is that something that's nearer
Yeah,
term in your
that's
in the
on the near
future?
term. That's on the near term. That's in the next couple months of work blocks that we have. We have that actively planned out. We should update our public roadmap to show that. More to speak more specifically, being able to do the one-click authentication into Office 365 to tap into Microsoft Graph and be able to search and retrieve files that way while inside the platform. That's different than, just not to get super technical, but it's different than a syncing approach where some AI companies have thought, take all of your files from Microsoft and daily sync them to a database that sort of like mirrors it, but is vectorized for AI to search it. And I just haven't seen these being able to perform better than built-in search in Microsoft yet because of their graph searching capabilities. So that's why we're thinking about doing it that way. But that is definitely something that we are actively working on and should have an update hopefully before the end of the year, if not early January.
Awesome. Good to know. Well, we're excited. I mean, we were talking with Mark earlier, and I think I had my whole team as well in an onboarding call. So we're very excited to keep adopting it internally, and we're coming up with a couple cool ideas. We'll join up the Discord and share.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're a couple minutes over time here. Feel free to hit us on the Discord if you got any more questions. And use Mark and JP as a resource as much as possible. Head up office hours, schedule some time with your whole team if you want to do that overview that Charles talked about and advocated for. And we are very thankful and grateful to have you all as partners.